Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. How is everyone doing? Earnings season officially kicked off. Strong bank earnings, UNH also strong earnings. So there we go. We're kicking off the earnings season with a bang already. Good morning, Patrick. Happy Friday to you. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, PMG. Good morning, Tony. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so we'll wait for some other people to come in. Until then, we had the import and export prices coming out. Nothing major market moving. Yes, boy, I called up that coin move yesterday, huh? There you go, Sterling. Hope your vacation's going well. Did you see Nvidia yesterday? Man, that stuff, some stuff's just on a tear. We got consumer sentiment, Michigan consumer sentiment coming out 30 minutes after the cash open, 9 o'clock Central. These are the preliminary numbers. So remember, we'll get the final numbers after, but these are the preliminary numbers. Really paying attention to the 5-year inflation expectations and the short-term inflation expectations. So to see whether if those continue to drop, the market might get still a little bid under it. Then the only thing we have rig counts for the crude traders. Everything pretty much strong. We go to sectors: financial, healthcare, basic materials, and technology all running. Energy pulling back slightly. Crude finally returned to the 200 as expected, and now pausing there. Microsoft, Nvidia still coming through. UNH again, earnings this morning up 311 basis points. You can see banks really leading it. JP Morgan, incredibly strong results driven by the takeover of First Republic that actually added to their bottom line substantially. So the banking crisis helping JP Morgan's earnings. That's where we sit right now. What else do we have? Fed Watch at 95% still for the rate hike in 12 days. So still pretty much completely baked in. Fear and greed, 81 in extreme greed levels. But there's nothing stopping this market just yet. Gamma flip is 44.77, so we're a long way off. We're stuck right now at 45.50. And remember, we have that huge both delta and gamma wall right around that 4,500. So we'd have to really start accelerating to the downside to get into negative gamma again. But the major support levels back at that 4,500. Minor resistance is 4,550. Other than that, we'll have to see how stuff restructures for next week. I already talked about that. Citibank, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, UNH, all producing strong results this morning. So, where do we say good morning? Options 22. We're impressive. Yeah, finally, US dollar, Japanese yen reversals. Now I start watching that rotation zone. It actually broke a key trend line, too. So, we'll take a look at that in a second. Also, dollar index finally getting a little bounce. S&P on a continued march into the cash open. If it marches higher now, 45.75, then we have the major level up here of 40, just above 4,600. Remember, we got 46.45. This is a return to the 87 and a half. So we're still watching for that. Does not mean it's going to get there today, of course. But what I am paying, why won't, oh, I keep clicking the wrong one. There we go. So today on, if we do continue, yesterday we had incredibly strong tick, incredibly strong upwards price pressure. So I'll be looking at that again this morning. 45.75 will be my only key target today. On a pullback level, I'm just watching the 4-hour rotation zone. If we do pull back, yeah, we got this little two tops there. It's one of the lower probability ones because the base is on that side. have to really go to this other one, but it would be a breakdown for about 45.35. Other than that, that's very key support with that 4-hour rotation zone. You break down from there. I don't even need to use those targets because the next major support levels is 45.18 to 45.20. And then the major support, as I talked about already, technically 44.92 to 4,500. So 44.92 on a low, but 4,500 on a closing basis. But if there's any profit taking today, that's where I'm watching the dip and holding that 4-hour rotation zone. And then if we got more, if something happened, it'd be that 45.20 area. Those are the two levels I'm focusing on to the downside if it does break any support. Not expecting it to, but we got to be prepared for both sides. 45.75 is the first upward target. If it did blow through there, I doubt it will. But the next key target would not be to that 45.90. NASDAQ coming up, pausing right here at this 15,747 area. If we blow through that, if we blow through it today, we'll be watching the next target is until the 87.5, the 15,982. That is the next target, which takes us back all the way back. Remember, the odds shifted once we closed above that 62.5 to go to at least the 87.5. It doesn't have to stop there either, although there's major upside resistance up here. But it's still in rotations modes and trailing modes. The Dow, only keeping an eye on any weakness if we do pull back, but this would need a close below 34,495 to trigger the bigger pullback. That might be invalidated into the open. Targets I'm using for the open, 34,890, 35.25, 35,159 to the upside. The Russell, pausing at our key level. We break through there this morning. 1977.7 is the next target area. But this is a pretty strong resistance area for the Russell. But that would be, if it does break through, to return to the minor 87.5. The key support is all the way back at 1932 now. What else? I'm just seeing. We'll take a look at some other stuff going into. Let's just see. VIX still holding. Slightly little pop up this morning with some stuff, but nothing major. Nothing major there. So not much to talk about with the VIX. The DAX officially closing back above the 62.5. So even on a pullback, I'll watch for another push higher going into next week. The notes, another rip your face off rally, decline in yield. I think this is a little overdone, but it doesn't really matter. There's just no fantastic setup right now. Nothing to focus on there. The 10-2s pausing at the first area of key resistance, but not much to talk about there. Finally, the bounce on the dollar index just ahead of the second harmonic, but any rally, I'd be watching for another rollover play. So is this a major bottoming move yet? No. Watching for a stronger, at least that would be a stronger short-term bottom being put in. We don't have it yet. But then again, if we did get some move on, especially next week in the dollar index, your major support, this multi-bottom support, is now major resistance with the declining rotation zone. Now, we are getting down to those oversold conditions with cycles at the bottom, so we can see a bounce. But, you know, on any aggressive upside plays in the dollar index, it would be aggressively moving up stops and be prepared for another rollover. Crude, as I talked about, once we got above the 74.30, watching for that reconnection with the 200. Yesterday, hit it. And today, pausing there. Would not be surprised now to see a pullback or at least a pause. Remember, we can also have some kind of sideways correction. I'm paying attention to the bottom of the rotation zone and this little breakout ledge about 76 for if we get a pullback area. Your major pullback area is 75 on the daily. We'll be reconnecting with this prior resistance becoming support. What else? We have gold still pausing at that first target. So it's now from this perspective a stop raise level. What else? What else? What else? We have the US dollar, Japanese yen. Once we got below the trend line, we did reconnect overnight with the 200 and the prior major resistance support area. We're getting a bounce there with cycles at the bottom. Now, what's key? What is key? You still have a fair amount of overhead resistance. Okay? The next target I'm looking at is 139, which would be to possibly roll over and kiss the trend line goodbye. Then 140.17 if we got through there. That's the flat hooking over 50 and the declining daily rotation zone and this major resistance area again. So those would be any upside targets. Is this a major bottoming play yet? No. Would not be surprised after we hit some key resistance areas to see some backfill at least. And then watch the secondary reaction back down, so don't get caught off guard if you are now long or looking for higher moves in the US dollar, Japanese yen. The euro coming up to the next harmonic area and pausing there. Not looking for much in the euro on any backfill play. I'd just be looking at the prior harmonic 111.70 area with the 4-hour rotation zone. But that is about it if we do get any backfill there. If we break above this 112.40, above 112.40, the next major target is upwards to this 112.95. Which is a major 62.5 harmonic. The pound, watching this, is getting substantially overdone. Cycles at the top and overbought, so I'm watching for some kind of corrective move back. There, what else do we have? We got the spiders and the Qs. Oh, also remember this afternoon with this strong push higher, if we do continue even a run up during the day, watch for some profit taking in the indices this afternoon. Spiders taking out that 75 harmonic and pushing 449. Is there another key target yet? We're sitting right above here. I have to go back. We still have a I don't know if that is still, I think we still have a potential gap here. 451.03. 450, yeah, 451.03 would be the next target higher. And then you're looking roughly about 456.84 for next week. On the continued push higher, though, the 87.5 is at 463.50. So that's where that sits. Any reversal patterns are completely off the table. We are not yet overbought. We've had some waning momentum, but yesterday's momentum took out the last little peak, and I will be watching next week for the cycles to get into the top area on a daily basis again. The support levels now, what I am looking at on this is pretty much the 1 hour rotation zone, this little breakout pause area before we broke out yesterday, which is 448.50. All right, then if we do get that bigger pullback next week, there are some gaps left behind, and we'll cover those next week with the Qs. The Qs coming up to the 379.60 area above there. Remember, 87.5 was 389.40. And this is pretty key resistance. We're trading 379.29, so any rollover, it would be the gap lower, but there aren't a lot of good intermediate targets in here. Roughly, If I had to choose one, I'm just looking for another significant level. It's right about 383, just slightly above 383. Same thing with this. It's getting, oh, come on. There we go. Bring me forward. On any pullback, I'm paying attention to a 1 hour rotation zone. So right now, I'd be watching for a reconnection with about 370, 775 to 378 on any pullback there. Nothing to talk about with gold. Pep, we're pausing at that. We're pausing at the first, as I said before, we're pausing at that first target area. If we do get some kind of pullback, I'd be watching about 1955 as the first pullback level. What else? I touched on NVIDIA. Again, through the next hard cluster, just closing above there. The double, obviously, that never confirmed or triggered. Remember, just because there's doubles, they never have to confirm or trigger, but it's a great area to use for trailing stops. NVIDIA also. Would I be surprised to see this 500? Not at this point. The next harmonic is 497. Where do we sit on? I mean, this is... Where do we sit? We're P to E 228. Oh, but these things will just keep going. It's getting funny at this point. So that's the next major target. Trading pre-market 465. These things are somewhat going vertical. Tesla, pretty much slight gap down this morning. Tesla's not been able to get a lot of traction. This is not a mini double top. It did not get high enough yet. So major support still 265. What else do we have? Yeah, but you know what? With those rules they made, they're just trying to delay everything they can with the student loan repayment stuff. You know, because, okay, if you don't start repaying, it's not going to affect your credit score, blah, 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 for a year. They're just delaying it however they can. People are struggling and banks are... I'm expecting the market to roll over at some point. But we don't have the pattern. You got to go with the trend until the trend ends. Look, we had the potential topping patterns. They never triggered. They were invalidated without ever triggering. This madness can go on a lot longer than you think. What else? We know we had something else from MJ. IBB. I mean, yeah, that's a little mini double bottom that's triggered. First target hit yesterday. I'd really be focusing on your second target, 129.50 is the 200, and then 130.29, but that is a completely valid double bottom. So that's where we sit there. Who else I missed? Good morning, Martinez. Did I get that? Can we look at coin? There you go. There you go. There's the first target hit. Next is 120.25, and a lot of that's due to the Ripple announcement yesterday. And 136.95. We're back in rah everything mode. So rah. There, my man with XRP, the old Ripple. All right, that's what we have so far. I hope everyone has a wonderful Friday trading day. And again, watch for if we do rally into this morning, watch for some profit taking this afternoon, at least know where retracement stops are going. Can we look at Palantir? That'll be it. Planter. Still triple top up here. If we can get above the 17 area, I mean, your next target's still 1857. On any pullback, your minor support level is right about 16. So that's where that sits. Technically, if you did get a week, it's not on a daily because it's a triple on a daily, but it's a double on a weekly. That would be the only thing that would really put a kibosh on this move. Would be a weekly close below 1355. Other than that, any pullbacks I'd look for still upwards, some more upwards price action. Now you got cycles back at the top and getting overbought with some divergences. So either it's got a base up here and then break out, or find another support pullback. Yeah, thank you, MJ. Everything's going okay. You're welcome, Christoph. I don't even think I have Ripple on here. Let me look. X. Oh, I was wondering. I'm like, XRP. Why did I type it in wrong? Who should I use? Who do I want to use for this? I guess we got to go to Binance. I mean, that was off the ruling against the SEC yesterday, which actually surprised me. So right now, I mean, we've got to just take a look at that longer term. The longer term. The longer term levels. So if you move back up, I mean, my key support, I'd be looking at some of these harmonics now about 0.71. And then it would be roughly about 0.6. To the upside, if it can get a continued push higher, I don't know if this will get a continued push higher. That was more the panic buying after that ruling against the SEC. But the major target would be 113 if it did go higher. That's where we sit. All right. The bulls beat the bearishness out of me. I just can't tell if that means, we'll see if you're the contradictory indicator, Jacob. All right, let's see if Jacob is the contradictory indicator coming up. I am expecting at least some kind of rollover, but not today. I mean, besides some profit taking, we don't have any key major patterns yet. They keep getting taken out. Again, potential double, never triggered, rotation zone held. I mean, technical damage at this point has to be back below 4. Major technical damage doesn't start happening until back below 43.20 to 43.50. And look, it's climbing this channel. We've had on this channel on here for quite some time, and we could easily connect with that 87.5. Still. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of pullback, but that is not technical damage yet. All right, I'll talk to everyone later. Have, again, a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.